Good morning. It's so weird to say good morning. I am live this Friday morning, and this is a little odd for me. I'm not normally live um, on in the morning time. So I don't know how many people we'll have. Let's see how it goes. I'm happy to be here. It's been a crazy few weeks. My son Gabriel is on the high school tennis team, and if you have hi Bonnie, if you have kids that play sports or did play sports, you know how it goes. When their season hits, it is full bore. We are going every single day. For weeks now, there's been a tennis match like 3 nights a week, and so he's got. I thought last night was his last one, but he's got one more that's like a makeup because we were rained out one day. So hi Catherine, good morning. It's just been crazy, and I wasn't going to miss his tennis match. I love y'all, but these times are what's really, really important. Um, and he played late, so that was another reason I didn't make it into last night. I really thought we'd be home if he played when he normally plays. I would have made it home in time, but he didn't play until later. We were still at the tennis courts until after 7. So that's what was going on last night. Hi Diana. You guys, like seriously, I have so many good things to share. Um, from the new Picket Fence Studios release. And by the way, I love these mesh bags. Like when I get new projects for design teams and stuff, everything goes in there. It keeps it all together. And for the Nashville Craft Retreat, I love that every workshop comes in its own zipper mesh pouch, and they're color coded so that we can always say if we need to go back and grab something, hey, this was in your blue zippered pouch. Go back, go find this, whatever it was. So, and I apologize because I was trying to get, hi Anne, how are you? I was trying to get everything ready, and I kind of lost track of time of getting myself ready. And so I will be drinking my protein shake and drinking my coffee at the same time while we're on. I hope you don't mind. So have you seen the new Picket Fence Studios release? It's ocean themed. It's called Ocean Odyssey. And since I've been on the design team, I think it's my favorite release so far. It is, I mean, we all need some vitamin C, right? And it is fantastic. Look, so first of all, let's start out with these cute mixes. This is the Island Blues, and it's very subtle. It reminds me of sand with a little bit of shimmer from the water. So pretty. It's very, you could use this in so many different ways. It's got the translucent, and it even looks like the little water droplets. I don't know if you can see it. I'll take it out later. Then it's got some that are kind of goldish sand colored, and then some iridescent blues. So pretty. Love that. And then look at this cute one. I didn't even remember that I had requested this. Look, with the seashells, purple and turquoise. How cute is that? And these little, it almost looks like the foam in the water. They're kind of white beads. And then once again, you have the clear droplets and just so many pretty things in there. I love that. And I love there's different there. Oh, I think there's some little gemstones in there too. So cute. Oh, good. Thanks, Bonnie. I love that y'all are going to YouTube because we definitely need to get those numbers up. So I really appreciate it. This one is, I'm loving the splatters. Like, I have been splattering everything lately. And when I say everything, I mean everything, because my entire craft room has splattered. My computer screen just keeps getting more and more. But this is now called, this new one is Purple Tulip. Look how pretty that is. I am all about the splatters. I think I have most of them, and I love them. And I'll tell you, the thing I like about the white one, if you haven't heard me say this before, is the white one does not pick up the color, because these are watercolor splatters. So normally you think watercolor, it will pick up the colors that it sits on. And if you've ever used a white kind of paint or splatter watercolor things, like lots of times they'll soak up the color so it doesn't stay true white. This watercolor splatter, I was telling Nicole the other day from Picket Fence Studios that I love, love, love that the white does not pick up the color. I've used it several times and it stays white. I think it's called like snowflake white or something like that. I love it. Oh, Anne says she's glad I'm live. You know, Anne, it's been on my mind lately that I should go live more mornings and reach different people that maybe are up in the evening. So sometimes I have thought of that. And I'm home all day today. I've been running around like crazy all week, and I knew today would be a good day to do that. And then look, if you're a fan of the paper pouncers, which I have to tell you, I'm becoming more and more of a fan of them. It took me a while to kind of figure out how to use them and at what times I would use them best. They are fantastic through stencils and to create a solid color background quickly, or to do like the big dies. So look at these. We now have ocean blues, and you know what? And then ocean greens. And I have to say, hi, Sue. Good morning. I have to tell you, I love that Nicole released these, because if you're a Catherine Pooler ink fan like I am, or even in my Altenew inks, there are these tealy greeny blues, and then there are more of the like blue greens in those lines. And I love that now we have paper pouncers, because sometimes you don't want to use your bright blue one to, I'll show you what I mean. Let me find them. They're in this drawer. So for instance, I have, you know, you get the rainbow colored ones, and I love that Nicole gives you the pastel colors, and then you get the darker colors, which I'm now doing for blending brushes and everything. I like to have pastel color brushes and more of the more saturated color, you know, the more saturated tones. And so I love that you get that in the rainbow, but we also know that we have these green blues and blue greens, and then the green blues, like in Catherine Pooler inks, that you don't want to use these for those colors. So I love, love, love that Nicole released those this month. So that's really fun. So we'll be using these for sure today. And I just need to keep them straight, because blue greens, green blues, right? Now, have you guys seen this release? I mean, oh, see, Anne says she's using it. I'm telling you, it takes a while. You have to, you know, because I'm an ink blender, so I love my ink blending brushes, but you have to figure out when these work really, really well, and then think to reach for them. Don't put them away where you can't find them, right? Or you don't think about it. But if you think about your project ahead of time, it's good. I have to tell you, this is so funny. I can tell the girls this because we're all friends here. I was watching on my screen. I looked to make sure I'm in the screen and everything. And this is so funny. You guys are going to laugh so hard. I'm looking at my hand and my arm, and I'm like, ooh, my arm looks skinnier. And so I cracked myself up because I was getting distracted going, oh, because I'm doing this. If you guys don't know this, but like since September, I've really been working on kind of healing my body from the inside out and being healthier and eating healthy. And of course I want to lose weight. And, the priority kind of shifted to healing my body from the inside out. But one of the big things is doing a flush and taking all the inflammatory things out of my diet. And by the way, I'm going to have allergy testing because you would not believe, I think, all the foods that I'm now allergic to, and which causes a lot of inflammation in your body, which means you're holding a lot of water. And for a long time, I would see my hands and my wrists on screen, and I would think, oh man, my hands look so fat and my wrists look so fat. And today I'm like, ooh, it's working because my wrist looks thinner. Okay, sorry, I got sidetracked. So, Catherine, I will tell you that yes, I do. And here's why. Now, let me put my face on. Here, let me give you my opinion. And it's one of these do as I say, not as I do things. Kind of. Catherine Pooler inks are a little bit of a different formulation than, let's say, the Altenew Crisp Dye inks. Let me get one. I know I have some. Well, I have them right here. Let's talk about this. Okay, and this is where inks, you have to know inks. And I love that you asked that question, Catherine, because you have to understand the formulations and the products that you're using, and you don't want to ruin your investments. I always think of these as an investment. When you buy good blending brushes, whether it's the Picket Fence Studios blending brushes or any of the other ones out there, whatever it is, I don't care what you use. It's an investment, right? It's a tool. Just like an artist, like really good paintbrushes are really expensive. Or a chef, when they spend a lot of money on really good knives, you have to take care of them, right? And they're an investment because you don't ever want to have to buy those again. And if you take care of your craft supplies, most likely you won't. So I'm really glad you asked that question. Whether it's paper pouncers, blenders, your inks, whatever. Okay, here's the deal. And oh, Bonnie's asking about the new fresh dye inks. And I will tell you, I don't have a lot of those. I have some. Oh, I needed that Dewdrops refill. I have some. Let me pull out. And I'm going to give you my opinion. My opinion. Someone asked me this the other day. I really do like when I've used these, the new Altenew inks. These are called fresh dye inks. They're still a water-based. Read the back of your ink pads. Read the back. It's really important. Whether it's these, Catherine Pooler's, whatever you have, especially black inks, because black inks get confusing. Okay, so you know what? Hey, Ricardo, are you close by? I didn't bring my glasses and I really need them. If you read the back, let's say of this new, you've seen these new Altenew fresh dye inks. They're a circle. They are still look like a linen. They're a felt covered with a linen ink pad. They are water-based. They say they're highly saturated and uniform coverage. They're a fast drying dye ink, and they're excellent for stamping and doing all those things. Okay, so here's what's important. It says it's water-based, okay? Formulation. Altenew Crisp Dye ink is water-based. Catherine Pooler inks are water-based, right? Tim Holtz, the original Distress inks are water-based, right? So you should be able to use your tools across any water-based ink, but you have to understand that a lot of companies use kind of the same formulation, I'm going to be honest. However, I will tell you, Catherine Pooler's is a little bit different. It's a little bit different, but it's still water-based. The new fresh dye inks, from what I understand, are just a little bit different, but they're still water-based than like Altenew Crisp Dye inks. Simon Says, let me think of different ones. Like Pink Fresh, Simon Says, all those are pretty much, the crisp dye inks are pretty much the same formulation. I'm not a scientist. I don't work for the companies. I'm telling you what I know through research that I've done and things when I've talked to people, experts in the industry, and I know a lot of them come from the same manufacturer, to be quite honest. Like I know that. So Catherine's do not. And I don't know right now where the Altenew fresh dye inks are manufactured. But a lot of the others are manufactured from the same company. So what I'm trying to say is you should be okay in using your paper pouncers, your blending brushes, as long as it is a true water-based dye ink. Now, with that being said, like I said, the Altenew and Catherine Pooler are a little bit different formulation. Do I use mine in here and go right into one of these? Yes, I do. but you have to make that decision because I wouldn't want you to come back. Have I ruined anything yet? No. But you do not want to use all of your tools in like the Tim Holtz Distress Oxides. He very clearly says, clean them off before you use them in one of your other water-based dye ink pads because it's a different formulation. It's almost like in between a pigment ink and a dye ink. So you definitely need to clean off your brushes before you go back into using a water-based dye ink or even your regular distress inks. He tells you that very clearly. Another thing is, especially if you're using pigment inks, like VersaFine Clair is a pigment ink. So it is an oil-based kind of ink. You never want to use your brushes in, and there are different colors of VersaFine Clair. I have those too. You never want to use your brushes or your tools or your paper pouncers in a pigment ink and then go back into especially your Catherine Pooler inks. And if you have Catherine Pooler inks, you need to take very good care of these because they are a foam ink pad and they deteriorate, they break down, especially when you cross-contaminate them and if you don't keep them re-inked. I have discovered I've had my Catherine Pooler inks for several years now. I don't even know, like since almost they first came out. And I have ruined a couple of ink pads and I've now discovered through trial and error, I do take much more gentle care of them than I used to. Keep them inked. And I've said it over and over and over again, that you need to keep it well inked. And I showed it not long ago in a video. I go even around the edge. You need to keep this foam edge, you need to keep it from drying out. So re-ink it often and make sure you get that ink all the way to the edge and do not cross-contaminate your pads with like a pigment ink, or make sure you clean your stamps off really well so there's no solvents on them. Even if you use a cleaner, I would then recommend going over it with like a damp stamp chamois or even water and giving them a final rinse so that you're not cross-contaminating these foam ink pads because they're a little finicky. I think they hold up pretty darn well. And the foam is one of the things I love most about these ink pads, but you need to take care of them and you need to understand taking care of your tools and your ink pads and things like that. So that was an excellent question. I think Catherine asked that, and I'm sorry to go into that tangent, but I talk about inks a lot because I think it gets very confusing for people, and I get that, and that you need to understand, right? You need to understand the different formulations and what's what. And so thank you, Catherine, for asking that question. And just so you know, because I've had people asking, I invested in, and I have bought almost all of my Catherine Pooler inks. Of course, Catherine does give me some when I do special projects for her and things. But lots of times, originally, I bought all the inks myself, all the refills, unless Catherine is sending them to me for something special. I bought all of my Altenew inks. All of the crisp dye inks and refills, I bought those. I buy almost all of those things like that. All of my Tim Holtz inks and my VersaFine Clairs. So that leads me to the next thing. A lot of people say, what inks do you use? This is my opinion. I do have all of the colors in the VersaFine Clair because they are a pigment ink. I use them for different things and I love them. Do I use them very often? No. But I do love them, and you can watercolor with these. And I love to do my Lavinia stamps with VersaFine Clair inks, and you'll see me use them because they're water resistant. I try not to say waterproof because almost nothing is completely waterproof, but they're really good because I can stamp even in the colors and then do watercolor over it or use water-based dye markers over it, and it works great. So I do have all of the colors in VersaFine Clair. I have every single color of Catherine Pooler. And you have to buy the ink refill when you buy the pad. Then I invested in the Altenew Crisp Dye inks, and I'll tell you why I love the Altenew Crisp Dye inks, because I love the color range. I love all of the colors. They are very good at and I love that they come out in bundles of 4. If you get the 4 pinks, you get a good layering set and in that certain shade. and from lightest to darkest. And so that's why I originally invested in Altenew Crisp Dye inks, because I love the colors and I love that they come out in groups of 4 in the color family, and it makes for easy shading and layering, which like that's my jam. So I invested in those. Am I investing in these? No, because I already have the other ones. And do I like these when I've used them? Yes, they're water reactive. I can do lots of things with them. I'm just not investing in them because I already have those. And so it's not for me. And that's just why. If they have new colors that come out, because they are not producing anymore in the crisp dye inks of these, I might buy them. I don't know. And then I have all of the Tim Holtz Distress Oxides and the Tim Holtz Distress Inks. I don't pull those out quite as often, although I've been doing it more. Those are the ones I've invested in. I have tried inks. I've probably tried every single other one most likely out there. And other than, I did lately, I will tell you, I bought a couple because I wanted to compare. And you guys have seen me do this. I bought some of the new Simon Says with the foam ink pads. They're called Positively Saturated Ink. I bought some of those. Also, when I find colors that I don't have, or like I think fill in a hole, like in my Catherine Puller inks or something else, I just hit my elbow. If I find colors that fill in a hole, or it's a pretty color that I don't think I already have from another company, sometimes I will buy that one. So I'm being more picky lately. I do have the Altenew, and I haven't used these in ages, but I do like them. These are the mixed media inks, more of a pigment ink from Altenew. And I will tell you, I got these partly because I was teaching a class for them and they sent them, but I do like them and I've used them. We used them at the Nashville Craft Retreat a couple years ago, and because you can stamp on fabrics and stuff. They're a mixed media ink. Let me think what I've bought. I bought recently, I know I bought some, what's it called? The Stamp Market. Now, where are they is my question. I bought the Stamp Market. I bought some inks from her, and I don't know where they are. Oh, I bought some Concord and Knife because they also have a foam ink pad. I was trying to compare the different foam ink pads. I just haven't gotten to it yet. I did buy some Lavinia. You probably saw that in a live, that because they're all foam ink pads and I wanted to compare it. I have no idea where the Stamp Market inks are that I bought. You can tell I haven't used them. Where are they? I'm sorry. I don't know where they are. Really pretty colors though. And by the way, did you guys see that the Stamp Market is doing a virtual retreat in the fall in September? Several of us have done that. So if you haven't checked it out, I'm really excited. We're all really excited for that one. Okay, I see there's a question. I'm sorry I went on a tangent about inks because they're so important, right? To everything that we do. You have to understand inks. You have to understand your tools and how they work together. And you have to try your different inks in different kinds of ways so that you always know how they work. So when you go to do a new project, you don't ruin it because you don't know how your product worked. So let's see. Yes. Sue says she has CP inks and her sauna is deteriorating. I find you have to keep, my opinion is, after some of my fails, most importantly is to keep it well saturated. Re-ink it quite often, Sue. Don't let that middle part dry out, because we tend to ink blend in the same place, put our brush in the same place in the ink pad, kind of in the middle. And I found some of mine when they were deteriorating, it was, when I really thought about it, it's right in that same place that we stamp and we ink blend, we load our brushes there. So it also could be cross-contamination from our stamps, or that we're pulling that ink from that same spot all the time. So if you keep it well saturated, and sometimes try to think about going in different areas so you're not going right in the middle, it'll help keep that foam pad nice. And you have to remember, foam is not like a permanent kind of thing. So it, at some point it is going to break down and deteriorate. You have to keep that in mind. But the more we take care of it, the better. Okay, Sue says, what do you think of new CP metallic ink pads? I have rose gold and platinum, and sorry to say, not completely happy with them. My rose gold came to me a little hard and dry, so had to re-ink it immediately. I find that a lot. I'm going to try to scroll down and see if there are any other comments. I will tell you, Sue, that I find that with pigment ink pads. I have one called Stays On Pigment Ink, and I love this stuff. I love it because you can ink on acetate and it dries very quickly. And it's fantastic to create like shaker cards and stuff, or like see-through cards. But here's the problem. This ink pad dries out really, like it gets hard. I've put them in plastic bags. I might try to wrap them in saran wrap in the future. Nothing works. And then it gets hard, and then I try to re-ink it, and it doesn't work so well. So I love this, but it's tricky. And a lot of pigment inks, like metallic inks, the ink pad can dry out pretty quickly. And I'm not sure if those are, they might even be foam ink pads, which makes it even more difficult. So I know that I've played with them a little bit, the Catherine Pooler metallics, and I tried to emboss over it and it doesn't work. Because I thought that would fix it, you know, because they don't really dry. So you have to use a spray fixative over them to be able to keep it from smearing and everything, because it won't dry. Like I couldn't get mine to dry. I heat set it. I sat it on my table for hours, for days. I could not get it to dry. And from what I understand, you have to spray a fixative on it. So I tried to emboss it, to set it by embossing with like a clear embossing powder, and that didn't work either. It bubbled up and it just flaked off. So that's all I really know about them. Okay, now let's get to what I really wanted to do. Here we go. Let's talk. Oh, let's see. I miss the company Color Box Pigment Inks. They were fabulous in my opinion. I did hear that someone bought them, from what I understand, Sue, but I don't know who. 100% you need a fixative with the Catherine Pooler metallic inks. I will tell you that 100% you need a fixative. Or else they don't dry and they smear. Okay, so here we go. You guys, look, here's what's really nice. I will tell you, this is what I love about Picket Fence Studios on their design team. Most of the time, let me give you a little background as to how design teams work. You don't normally get to pick what you use lots of times. And so in all honesty, it can be hit or miss with what you get from design teams, because you're kind of stuck with what they send you. And if it's not your favorite thing or your jam, you're out of luck. You still have to create something really pretty and put it out there. And it's not always easy, because you're like, this isn't what I would normally use, or they weren't thinking about me when they sent me this because it's not my style. And it can be really difficult, like really difficult. But I have to tell you, Picket Fence Studios, I just love how they work. Their design team, they let you pick anything you want and everything you want. And so you can tell how excited I was for this month's release, because when I saw the ocean theme, I'm like, girl, send me everything. I was so excited. So first of all, we have the Ocean Wave stencil, and I want to show you how to use this, of course, because it's not just one dimensional. Like there's so many things you can do with this. Then, and the nice thing is, I love we have dies with almost everything this month. So we have, look how cute. You Octopi My Thoughts. Love it. And I love octopi. I mean, I think they're such intelligent animals, and just, I think, so undervalued. Look at this one. I knew I had to have this one. Find Me by the Sea. Look at the die cuts, and you can layer it. You can do so many things. Have you seen hi, Melissa, how are you? Melissa, did you have a birthday the other day? I think I missed it, but then saw it later. I think you did. Happy birthday. This you can cut out of the front and then do a shaker behind it, right? And then layer up these like very fine detailed. I just think this is a fantastic die. Find Me by the Sea. And then this is so cute. If you are a colorer, look at this adorable one. She is in the ocean with her little flamingo floaty, and way back in the distance, there's the lighthouse and like the little bathing house. I love the proportions. They work really well. And then you can do little fish at her toes and some splashies. I love that Nicole thinks about those details. Life is simply better with you. You make summer a blast. Life is a beautiful thing. And this one is Sun Fun, Here We Come. And this is called, let me see, Dear Summer Loving. And there's even a die for it. And I love that. Love, love, love that there's a die. I fell in love with jellyfish after going to Mystic, Connecticut last year. I got Altenew jellyfish stamp and die set and love it. I love jellyfish too, Sue. And how cute to put like pear blossom pressed lights in it and make them light up. That was an idea we had a couple years ago for the retreat, and we never did it. But oh my gosh, to make those light up, that would be so cute. And now Pear Blossom has the twinkling lights. So how cute to make them twinkle light. Oh my gosh, I think it'd be so cute. Jellyfish are so beautiful. I love to see them at the aquariums. So I just think this one's so cute if you're a colorer. And here's the thing. There's so little coloring in it, you can't muck it up, I don't think. So cute. And then love these seashells. I think they're exactly the right size. They're not too big and not too little. So cute. Friends are like seashells. We collect them along the way. I loved that sentiment. Every seashell has a story. Just absolutely love this one. How pretty to color these up and put them in like a, we might have to make a slimline shaker card and put these in, right? That was on my mind. These are called Seashells Waiting to Be Found. All of these supplies are listed in the supplies list in the not in the comments, but in the description at the YouTube video. So please go. Remember, all proceeds I donate to charity. It was so fun to send my taxes in and, show that even though I had the income from affiliate money, it all went right back out the door to charities. So don't forget, I really appreciate it when you click those links, and we can donate to so many fantastic charities. We donated to the American Red Cross for the fires and the volcano and fires, the fires, not the volcano, in Hawaii. We donated to Canines for Warriors last year from the craft retreat. That was a huge success. And then I also donated to the earthquakes. This seems like so long ago. In Turkey last year because they were so devastating. We gave to Samaritan's Purse for that. So, and then we also donated to one of our friends from the Nashville Craft Retreat and out in the craft community, Dr. Sandra Frucci. Her son had a horrific, not gonna cry, horrific car accident, and they're lucky he survived. And so we donated to GoFundMe campaign for him also. That was late in the year. So we did a lot of things I'm really proud of for last year. Here's fantastic. We have dies for this. That I love. The Elephant Sanctuary, Anne, you're right, but I think I donated to them the year before because I try to spread the wealth, right? And oh my goodness, once you donate, I have to tell you, it's so fun to see all the things that the Elephant Sanctuary here in Tennessee is doing. They have bull elephants now. They're building a bull elephant house. They have elephants coming from all over to come and live with them. And it's just so fantastic, all the things that they do. And on the one hand, I would love it if I could go see them and actually interact with them. But on the other hand, I love that the Elephant Sanctuary, they really do take them in and let them retire. And they're, because a lot of them came from like circuses, not all of them. A lot of them are now coming from zoos. They're retiring from zoos. But some came from circuses and they were treated horribly, and they don't want them to be afraid of humans anymore. So they let them do their own thing, and they actually very much limit human interaction. So as much as I would love to be able to pet them and meet them, I actually love that the Elephant Sanctuary says, no, you can't interact with our elephants. And that's not really humane for them. And so I actually do love that. Like, I don't believe in riding on elephants or elephants being in these sideshows or even in circuses. I just don't believe in that anymore. So I will say, you kind of fall in love with elephants at the circus, but you don't realize how horribly they're treated. Same thing with the dolphins and the orcas who are kept at SeaWorld and other places. I fell in love with them because of SeaWorld. But now that I know what I know, like we don't go to SeaWorld because I don't believe in that. So, but that's just my opinion. And normally I don't give many of those kinds of opinions here, but I'm just saying, back to the elephants. That's why I love the way that they do things at the elephant sanctuary. Look at these and how beautiful these are. And yay, Nicole, for the dies. Like, come on, look how beautiful these are. And they have the little swoopy, we call that a long serif. If you design your own things, that's called a long serif. And it's just this long little leg on there. And I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So this one is called Signature Quotes. Oh, this one, I didn't tell you. This one is called, and I need my glasses. I might have to jump up and get them. Swanky Sentiments, Salutations. Love that one. I mean, this, you need this, look, for everything. Then this one is By the Sea, Signature. And so the sea is calling for us. Happiness comes in waves. Not all stars belong to the sky. Every seashell has a story. Waves can put the heart at ease. Ocean is my favorite color. Ooh, I love that one. This ocean is full of magic. Find some advice to the dance to the rhythm of the sea. How beautiful with the die cuts. Look at these sea turtles. I love sea turtles too. Look how cute. It's all about journeys and things like that. Love the Song of Life. Love it. Isn't that cute? Like, I love these sea turtles. And look, dies. So there we go. Now I'm going to leave it up to you. And tell me, what do you think? Yes, Bonnie, you are right. Some of them are rescues, and that's important, but some of them are not. Like I wouldn't ever go swim with the dolphins as much as I want to. Like, I can't tell you how much I would love to go do one of those swim with the dolphins. I won't, because I know how they get them, and it's not humane. So, I know, Sue, aren't those sea turtles so cute? Okay, what's everybody want to do? Let's do some crafting. I'm going to get off my soapbox, and you can tell animals how I am about animals and children, right? Tell me what we should do today. Let's definitely use this and create a background for sure. Like, I want you to see how I think this is good to use more than just one way. I mean, we can paper glaze it. We can ink it. We can do all kinds of fun things. What do you think? Turtles or octopi, Sue says. Let's see, we have the seashells. Let's get some of this stuff out of the way. Let's see what we have. We can add sentiments later. And see, we're kind of not in a time constraint this morning. Isn't that nice? Like, I don't have to rush off here. Oh, and then we have that fantastic die, you know? So we've got this cute girly girl. Like, she's going to be so cute. You have to see Andrea Shell, my dear friend, did this card. Oh my gosh, so cute. She's a great Copic color. What do you think? So here's the thing. We can use, I don't really want to color him. I'm not as excited to color him. I really like all the coral. And look at how you have little background shadow fish. They don't need to be colored. All different ones. Stamp those in the background when you create this, right? They create those murky shadows. Stamp them in blues and greens. Be really pretty. And we can use this with this too. Like, it all goes together, of course. So everybody wants the turtles for sure. What do you think? I was excited to do this in a shaker card, but we could do turtles, and like we could do this in the water below it. That would be good. And even a couple of seashells if we have time, but now we're pushing it because there's so much to do in Alive. If I were creating this card on my own, I would use seashells. I would use the coral. I would use this to create the background and the turtles. I don't know if we have time. Like, how cute to color these up and use these even in shaker. We'll see if we have time, but that's what I would do. Okay, everybody wants to do the turtles. Now, I'm giving you guys a lot of leeway today. How do you want to color the turtles? Should we color them the greens and like kind of the brownish colors that turtles normally are? or do you want to go wild and crazy? Like, what should we do? What are you thinking? And let's start working on this. You guys tell me what you think about turtles, because you don't have to make everything look the way it does in real life. You can be crazy. We could do a rainbow turtle if we wanted to, right? Sometimes we get caught up in making everything exactly the way. I got to open my protein shake or else I'm going to run out of steam. I should have eaten something 2 hours ago and I did not. So let's get going. I'm going to open that. Anne says wild and crazy. Sue says wild and crazy. Like, because you know what I think of? I want to do like pink and turquoise sea turtles, but we might hate that. I don't know. You know, I don't know. That might really be pushing it. Bonnie likes to color things like the color that they are. Because I remember Melissa painted the leaves, the Hawaiian leaves. What did she paint them? Blue, Bonnie? And you're like, I painted them pink because that's what color they are. Okay. First of all, when I am going to do a lot of water, inking, I want to use glaze, I want to do a lot of mixed media things. You guys know I always reach for my Bristol Strathmore Smooth water or mixed media paper. So let's see what I've got. Let's see if I have, ooh, look at that. I may have a slimline. A slimline is either 3, let me think. It's been so long since I've created a slimline card. Isn't that crazy? 3.5 by 7. 3 by 8.5. What am I? Or 4 by 9. I know 4 by 9 is the big one. Let's see what size this is. 4 by 9 is the big one. I normally don't make them that big. I think it's 3 by 8.5, right? Because I cut a piece of paper normally 7 inches. Oh, 3.5 by 8.5 because I score it in the middle of 7. That's how I always remember it. So this piece of paper is 3 3/4 by a little over 8.5. So let's cut it down to, I'm thinking, let's cut it down to 3.5 by 8.5. And I have to tell you, I did not have anything in mind because, like I said, I've been crazy. Like, there's been all kinds of stuff for the craft retreat going on. Like, I'm a little stressed, let's just say. Like, nothing seems to have gone right this year at all. So, it is like one fire after another that I'm putting out. And on top of that, I still have design team work. And I have like 3 videos due. And so, and I can't trim the end over here because I don't have, does this have an arm? It does not. So it's just been one thing after another. I got to trim this. Give me just a second. I like to trim things first before I start creating because once I put, if I glaze, now see, here's the problem. If we glaze this, it won't have time to dry. Well, yes, it will, because we'll set it aside and then we'll color. So I want my waves going this way, right? Please forgive me. I have to jump up. I have to go get my glasses. They are in another room and I am not going to do well unless I have my glasses. So I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. Okay, found them. Sorry, I had to go to the bathroom to find them. Here's one thing. Paper's really important. Bristol Strathmore Smooth because, hi, Gail. Got here. Was it something I said? I don't know what Gail's talking about. Mixed media paper because we're going to do a lot of inking. And there's Kathy Dodd. Kathy, you're supposed to be working. Paper's important for this. We're going to really ink it up. And we're going to add some water and some glaze and things. Here's the other thing. This was going through my mind as I was looking for my glasses. This is where you make the decision. Am I using a brush to ink blend or am I using my paper pouncers? Now, if you are doing a very soft blend, I have to tell you, especially for a background when you have a lot of inking to do, the paper pouncers can leave little circles a little bit. And so like when you pounce it, right? So you have to keep that in mind. So sometimes I reach for my blending brushes, but I know I'm really going to saturate this background. Also, Bristol Strathmore Smooth has, it seems to have a little bit of a coating on it that ink moves across the paper easier. So it'll be even easier to blend with our paper pouncers. And there's so many things I want to talk to you guys about today, and it's almost like there's not enough time to get the teaching in and the crafting in. So I don't know how we're going to get it all in. Let me get this open. You guys want me to give you a little secret? You want me to give you a little sneaky peeky of something? I'm just going to tell you because it's fun and it's on my mind. Oh, because I walked away and just came in. I was looking for my glasses, Gail, because I'm old and I can't see what I'm doing. Are you ready? If you have not tried paper pouncers, Nicole is sending you for the Nashville Craft Retreat. You're going to get 2 of the pint-sized paper pouncers at the workshop. So you get to try them if you've never used them. And I'm really excited. And Andrea, I believe, is using them in the very first class. So you get 2 from Nicole. Total gift of swag from Nicole from Picket Fence Studios. Thank you, Nicole, of the pint-sized paper pouncers. So that's exciting. You'll get to try them if you never have. Okay, so I pulled out the blue, what's this one called? The Ocean Blues, which is like more blues, blue-green, I should say. And let's think. And then the other thing is, this is what was going on in my mind. Let me find it. The Catherine Pooler color chart. Remember, because I'm using her colors, you have the party collection. It is the more saturated, clear, vibrant colors. Oh, well, good, Catherine. You'll be excited because you're getting 2 from Nicole. And we'll use them in the very first class and maybe in a different way. You know, we're all about technique. Hopefully, I think Andre is going to show you even a different way to use them than maybe you've thought of before. So we're excited. So more saturated, clear, vibrance. So like if I were doing ocean blues, I might go with the blue greens here, right? But I have to tell you, and I mix and match them. You aren't stuck with party. I mix and match between the spa. I don't even know if I have the new spa color chart in here because so many colors have been coming out for party. These are both party. Do I have a spa? Do I have a spa? Where is it? I don't even think I have one here. Blasphemy. Here it is. It's just on paper, not on cardstock, but at least we have something. So the spa collection is a little bit desaturated, a little bit more of an earthy tone. And if you aren't familiar with them, and I absolutely love the green blues, which is nice because you have the paper pouncers now from Nicole that are ocean green. So that would be your green blues, either in the spa or in the party, or you have the blue greens of the Daydream Skylight Hot Tub. I love these colors for ocean also. So these are some of my favorite ocean colors from Catherine Pooler. And now we have paper pouncers. Nicole, did you talk to Catherine about that when you figured that out? Because that just seems like a dream team right there. So I love the green blues and the blue greens. Just a little bit different in the shadings, right? Oh, good. Well, you guys will be in for a treat because they're so fun. And you get 2. And like I said, Andre is going to show you how to use them in maybe a fun, different way. Okay. I'm going to shake up my protein shake and I'm going to pull these colors. I want both the green blues and the blue greens. And I love Daydream. I used to use it all the time until Catherine came out with these colors for the ocean. And I love Uptown, which is a spa color. But we're going to use, let's see, Seafoam, Sea Glass, Bay Breeze. Minted is the light green, I think. I might be wrong. Have to look at that chart again. And then we have Hot Tub, Skylight, and Daydream. I love Daydream. I might use Uptown because Uptown is newer, and it's the brighter color for Daydream. It's the more saturated party color. So let's look at these. And then sometimes, I will tell you, I do like to use some of the party colors for my ocean colors. So we've got Hot Tub, Skylight, and Daydream. Look how pretty those are. Those are the blue greens. Then in the green blues, we have, oh, it was winter green, and Seafoam, Sea Glass, and Bay Breeze. Very slight difference in those, right? They're very similar, but just a little bit different. Let me get winter green. I knew I had those wrong on my shelves. So winter green is the green in there, okay? So you definitely see how this is more blue and this one's more green. I do also like the more vibrant party colors. Lots of times if I'm doing an ocean, I might do these turquoisey colors of like All That Jazz and Fiesta Blue or Aquatini. Those are pretty colors. But let's see how these look. And if we need to brighten it up, we can brighten it up, right? Okay. Alrighty. Let's start with, I kind of like the greeny blues and the Seafoam and the Sea Glass and the Bay Breeze. And then we can brighten it up a little bit if we want to. You don't have to stay, don't think you have to stay in those color families. So we need to open these too. I'm trying to read comments and do this at the same time. You can tell since we're almost an hour in that I wasn't under the time constriction that I normally feel like I'm in when we go live at night, right? Like by now I'm like, oh, I'm done. Good night. Okay. I'm going to get my paper inking palette because y'all know, like, I love this thing. Mine is so well loved and used already. Look at it. Can you see? It's like changed colors and I have to clean it all the time because I thought that my stencil mat was my favorite. I love the sticky mat. I use it for everything. I'm going to turn it even kind of sideways. Should I do that? Yeah, or this way so that I really know what I'm doing. So first I want to ink just the background and then we'll use our stencil. And we're going to be applying a lot of ink. So let's just get started. And I have to agree with Bonnie to a degree. I'm thinking about this. And I want it a little bit brighter at the top, and then maybe we'll get a little murkier at the bottom. What do you think? So we need some brighter blues at the top of the water. And I'm thinking, see, I look at my color chart all the time. This is not just because I'm on live with you guys. So these are the blue greens on the party collection, brighter blues, and then the green blues here. And so I have to tell you, Bonnie, you swayed me because I think I agree with you that I would like these. I think it's going to pop more is what I'm thinking. I think I want to use these and maybe we'll murk it up at the bottom, but I have to say, Bonnie, you convinced me. I think I want these and not these. And here's the nice thing. Your paper pouncers will go with both because we have green blues and blue greens, right? So let's set these aside and I'm making a switch. Hi, Tony. Good morning. How are you? You're lucky you missed me yammering on for a whole hour. And ooh, look, see there, you guys, see, I look at my arm again and I'm like, oh, inflammation diet's working. It's going down. I love that. That cracks me up. I know you guys think I'm a goober. Okay, so we need All That Jazz, Fiesta Blue, and Cummerbund. So we have All That Jazz, Fiesta Blue, That's the darkest one. Then Fiesta Blue, and then Cummerbund. And where's my Cummerbund? I have no idea. Who knows where that one is? But that's okay, because we can use a different one for that one. This is how much of a mess my craft room is. And then Uptown, Aquatini, and Minted. I know I don't really want Minted, but I have Aquatini. Oh, there's Cummerbund. It was in the wrong place. Look at what a disaster my craft room is. Okay, Bonnie, you convinced me. Thank you. Yes, it goes very dark, and that's why I like I like the dramas. So we'll go darker at the bottom. So let's start more pretty blue. We're going to start out with Cummerbund, and these are the blue greens. So I got to keep these straight, right? Blue greens are these. I'm going to keep these pouncers there, and these are more of the green blues over here. Okay, so let's keep those separated. So let's pull out our palest shade. And if you haven't seen the paper pouncers, so they have this little pouncy foam. I try to be gentle. Like, I don't want to wiggle them too much, and it really is supposed to be more of a pouncer. I will say I've seen people kind of hold it and, like, get a little rough with them, but I kind of worry about that. Oh, Melissa, did you hear? Like, oh, sorry. It's for the NCR guests. Like, they're getting 2 of the pint-sized paper pouncers from Nicole at the retreat. Okay. Give me 1 second. Let's clean up. And somehow I still left my protein shake and I still didn't open it. Give me a second. And I should label this. Let's measure this. Is Nicole selling labels for the top? I don't think so, because they would be more from the ink company. It's about 1 inch. So if you got 1 inch stickers, or you do a hole punch, you could put a label on the top, right? And label what color family that is that you used with that. I'm thinking that might be a good idea. Okay. Okay. Let me drink some of this protein shake. Not my favorite one, but it is what it is. So load up your paper, or your paper pouncer. And I love that the sticky mat, look how sticky this ink is not coming up. So let's move it over here. Like, it stays put. I don't need one of those separate things to hold all the ink pads. If you have those, great. I don't want more junk on my desk. But like, it sticks there. I don't have to hold it. I love it. Load up my, look how much ink is on here. Is that Cummerbund? Because it is like saturated. Yep, it's Cummerbund. So it's okay, because we're going to go across the top, pounce, 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 very softly. And I don't know if you can see, it does leave, like, I don't know if you can see it because it's so light, the little pouncy marks, but that's okay, because we're going, as you saturate it, and you can blend it just a little bit, holding the sides. We're going to saturate it with so much paper, you won't see all those little pouncy marks. So it's okay. But just be aware, it's part of using a new tool. There's a learning curve, right? How does it work? How am I going to get it to do what I want it to do? I hold the sides a little bit because it is kind of glued in there. So you don't want it to like wiggle it too much. Really, if you're going to do a blending motion, make sure you really hold it with your fingertips, and then that foam will work like that. Okay. So pounce, 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 keep going. And like I said, the Bristol Strathmore smooth paper, it seems to have a little coating on it. I don't know for sure, but it seems to allow the ink to move more freely. It still soaks up the ink, but it does stay wet just a little longer. My nose is so itchy. I don't know what's going on. They are, Melissa. I agree. So we're just going to build up the ink here. And, there's lots of the way the light comes in. There is lots of refraction with the light, and it moves, and there are different shadows and things. So if we have some shading from our pouncers, that's fine, right? Okay, nope, I don't want to use the green blues. I'm still sticking with the blue greens. And then we'll add in some of the green blues. This is all that jazz. Now I can go to the next one. Why is my nose itchy? So here's this next color. I'm using it for all that jazz. And kind of, it almost looks like little bubbles in the water, right? And you have to know when you re-ink it, it's going to, obviously you're going to get more there, see? And then I can blend it a little bit. See how it stays wet? Don't go too far into here. We want to keep that lighter color. We'll go back in and blend that in a second. Let's go ahead and do that before it dries, right? Blend it a little bit. I'm really holding the side now and going in circles. They are called paper pouncers for a reason, so be careful if you're trying to blend with them, because they're a little bit delicate, right? With that foam glued in. I'm trying to keep the heavier saturation towards the bottom and then blend the top, right? It does kind of look like ocean waves rolling. Doesn't that look pretty? Ooh, I think I'm loving that, you guys. Like, it's like the soft oceany waves rolling around. The little pouncing you get from the pouncers gives it kind of that bokeh soft effect. I'm loving that. That's fun. I hadn't thought about that before. I really try to think about these things before I start ink blending. But look how pretty that is. Like a rolling wave, right? So you can have your ink blending kind of going, you know, it doesn't have to be straight across, right? Have it going up and down. That's really pretty. Now let's switch to, oh, that was our darker color. Darn it all. I had them in the wrong order. Fiesta Blue was supposed to be in the middle. So let's go ahead. I messed that one up, but oh well. And this is the middle color, and I should have used the darker one. Darn it all. I'll have to clean this and redo it so that it's in the right color family, right? Or the darker shade. So let's get these. Let's really make this darker. And see how I have to say, if you have shoulder problems or arm, arm problems, things like that, I do like that the paper pouncers kind of take that ease than if you were using a blending brush, and you have to do a lot of that. It's a different kind of motion. So I can definitely see this heavier ink. It's as I ink blend more, it's laying on top of the paper and takes a little bit of time to soak in. And so now let's bring in my Fiesta Blue, and I should have used the middle color pouncer for that, and I did not. So it won't hurt it to use the darker one right now, but then I'll have to get them straight later. So this is the middle color of that family, a little bit brighter. So we're going to go in the middle and see if we can brighten this up just a little bit, or change the color just a little bit. That did add in some pretty blue. Good. Now let's blend it just a little bit into the lighter blue, the cummerbund, right? And blend it to the bottom. See how that goes? Once you really start saturating your paper, it blends together nicely, right? Okay. Y'all got quiet. What's going on? Are you just watching or what? Sometimes I know you're just watching when you get quiet. And this one's all that jazz. Let's add in just a little bit of darker blue at the bottom and really kind of jazz it up. We're going to use Uptown, and these I need the green pouncers because now I'm switching to the green blues. So let's see what we can do here. Let's take Uptown. This is more of the saturated color. We might even switch to like Daydream because it's more a little bit murkier. Let's see how this goes, see if we like it. This is Uptown, and I switched to the green-blue paper pouncers. Can you see that? That'll add in some pretty color at the bottom. Kathy says she's working and listening. And don't keep it a straight line, right? Because we're in the rolling ocean. So let's kind of go up and down. What do you think, Bonnie? Does that look better? Like a turquoisey, pretty ocean in Hawaii? Yeah, we can't get it to look exactly right, but look how pretty that is. So pretty. Now, you know me, I'm going to mess with it a little bit more. And let's add in some Daydream, because Daydream looks so pretty too. And this is the cousin of Uptown, so I'm using the same. Look how pretty. Now we're adding in some depth and some shading. I like that. We needed that. And I have my paper so saturated, I don't know that you can see it, but it's shiny actually, because I can see the ink sitting on top of the paper. So know that your fingers are going to get inky and you have to dry it, clean off your fingers, give it time to, to saturate. And I'm going to use one of these to kind of soften the top and blend that in together. What do you think? I love that kind of bokeh effect. Love it. Bonnie agrees. Okay, we have her approval. I'm going to clean my fingers off. And we're going to dry this with the heat gun. Can you see it? Look how pretty. Can you see the shine of the ink? That's how much ink we put. But look how pretty. Doesn't that literally look? Oh, I'm so pleased with this. When you look up, like under the water in the ocean, it looks like what you see towards the top. I love that. Yes, it really added the drama, didn't it, Sue? Okay, let's get this dried. And we will have a little bit of fade back. But oh man, I love this background. Thank you, Bonnie, for weighing my opinion. Because you were right. I know, I love a good turquoise water. So pretty. Look how beautiful. What a beautiful background we created. Oh my goodness, I just love it. A message popped up and it says, congratulations, you've received 100 messages today on Restream. That's so funny. If I had something to give away, I'd do a giveaway, but I don't really have anything today, or at least nothing I was thinking of. Okay, let's clean this off. And I just clean it off with water, spray water. And let's do some dribbling. Just have my water bottle, doing a little dribbling, and I'll need some paper towels to roll. Let me grab some. These are good ones. I don't really want to waste these too much. Lay it over it. I like to let them soak in. Ooh, look at that. Just a little bit. And then you're not really supposed to leave this on top. So I do pick it up usually. And once this is dry, now we'll use our new stencil. Kathy, keep messaging. It get me to 200. I don't know what it gets me. I don't know what it means, but it just means y'all are interested in interacting, which is, you know, Restream likes that. I know, doesn't it look so pretty? It looks like the real bubbles in the ocean. How pretty. Okay. So I'm getting this dry. Now, I'm going to move this because I don't like to put any goobers on my good paper palette. And I'm going to use this mat that I can see. I didn't clean very well the last time I used it. Oh my word. Junk falling over everywhere. That's my meat machine. Okay. So put this here. I now use my meat machine so much that it sits in the cart that sits next to my desk because that's how much I use it. Now, normally, you know what? I need my paper palette for this because I'm not ready for the glaze yet. I feel like I'm a mess today. Gail, you crack me up. You're so funny. Okay, here we go. Let's put this back on here because it's going to hold it and it's going to hold my stencil. Like, just love it. Here we go. And we're going to have to move it over because it's not long enough, right? So let's do some inking with, I'm thinking let's use the green blues and first we're going to do some blue greens at the top, maybe. What color did I use at the top? Cummerbund. So let's use some cummerbund and see if we can see it through just because we want very slight at the top. And then we'll take a peek and see how it's doing. Just literally, these paper pouncers are fantastic through a stencil. You just pounce it over it. Oh, it's very subtle. I don't think you can even see it. We might make them a little bit darker. Let's go in with some Fiesta Blue and see how that goes. This one I know you'll be able to see. See that? Ooh, that looks pretty, huh? So let's do that all the way across the top. Right? See that? Ooh, that looks pretty. And we'll go ahead and do it on the bottom, but we might have to switch to a darker ink. See that one? Darker ink. We're definitely going to need Daydream. You could even switch to a blue and it would show up more. And this is the green, so I'm switching my pouncers. This is Daydream. I'm just going to go on the bottom. And you can barely see it because we are doing tone on tone, right? If we switch to a different color blue, like Juniper Mist, there you can see that a little bit better. Do a little bit more up here. Right? You can see that now. Let's switch it. We're going to move it over. Be careful with your stencil if it's sticking. And it doesn't have to line up perfectly, right? Because there's lines and we can even line it up this way if you think it works somewhat the same. I don't think it's that important, but I'm going to go ahead and do the bottom since I have this ink color out. and then switch it to the Fiesta Blue. Ta-da! Isn't that pretty? That's pretty. Now, what you can do, I would think, a good idea, and look how we got to clean that at some point because that's a mess, right? You do get very inky with the paper pouncer, so you have to keep that in mind and clean your hands so that you don't cross contaminate or smudge, you know, get your smears and everything. Okay, let's see what I've got. I love, because you know I've been on this kick lately that Picket Fence Studios has the whole line of kind of mixed media things with glazes and stuff like that. So they have, and if you did the winter workshop with me, you got some glazes. This one is called Twinkle Lights Clear. And then we have a Twinkle Lights Silver. I would probably use the clear. And then there's a gold. So many pretty colors. Like, and if you haven't used this, play with it for a while so that you know exactly how it works. This one is called Buttercream. We don't want that. And then we even have all the splatters like I talked about. Like, love them, right? So let's clean the stencil, and then we're going to use some of this paper glaze through it. So let's move this, and it's going to dry for a second, which is good. First, I'm just going to spray it with water. Here's my water bottle to get the majority. Now, be careful with your detailed stencils. Lay a towel over it and just let it soak up the water. Don't rub and abuse it. You're really going to damage these. And then you pounce. Just dab with your paper towel, okay? And then you can gently kind of go across once you figure out that it's going to hold it and it's not going to damage it. And that's all we need to do. Okay, I'm picking it up because the back got wet and now we need to clean that. I'm going to do that off to the side. And then let's clean our mat. And this is where I will switch to the other mat because I don't want to get anything. Paper glaze can be really sticky, so be prepared to wash off your tools as soon as you use it. And then if you have some that dries a little, I would definitely use some alcohol or something. Now I'm wiping off my ink pads that got splatter on them. Use alcohol, lots of times 90% alcohol, to clean off any supplies, and I think that should clean the glaze off if it stays sticky. I'm going to dry this. I always dry between layers. Because if it doesn't dry, especially on this paper, it might smear, and I don't want that. We are an hour and 20 minutes into this. I may not get this done today in class. This might be something I finish later because I have so much other work to do too. Okay, let's see where I may have been. And I want to offset it just a little bit if I can figure it out. If not, we aren't going to stress about it, right? Let's see if we can figure it out. No, hold on. That one's the 3 waves. So I may have flipped it. Darn it. I thought it would be easy just to line it up. see where it was. There, it looks, nope, that's not it either. So definitely pay attention to how you had it lined up if you want to line it back up again later, because it's not a quick lining up. Of how I had it before. Hold on. And of course my paper's not sticking now, which I love and I'm used to it. There we go. No, it's still not that one. I don't know how I did it. Hold on. If I had paid attention to how I had it. Okay, I'm going to give up and we're just going to go with it in a second. Maybe I had it upside down. There we go. Yay, it was upside down. I figured it out. Thanks for sticking with me. I figured it out. Now I'm going to offset it just a little bit. I'm moving it down almost like a drop shadow, and I'm offsetting it. And I'm going to use the Twinkle Lights Paper Glaze Luxe Clear. So when you open it, it looks just like paste, but there's twinkle in there. And let me use a spatula. And I know I don't need a whole lot, so I'm going to pull it out. And I have offset it just a little bit. Now, here's the problem. Because this doesn't go all the way to the end, I don't want to overlap when I move it down and smear this side. I should have started the other direction, but I didn't. There's a little bit of grit to this. I don't know if you can hear it. So it gives texture. Okay. Ooh, look. Now it's going to dry clear. Okay. But here's where I'm going to try to hold it up from that side and not, oh, I'm going to overlap it so it'll cover itself, and that's good. I won't mess it up too bad. And this is just a background anyway, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, and I don't have any color, so I can put it back in here because I cleaned off my stencil. Sometimes they recommend you don't put it back in. Okay. Ta-da! Look how pretty. Now it's going to dry and it'll be a subtle, hey Ricardo, can you please come grab this? Perfect timing. He came down from work to the kitchen. I heard him. Will you please rinse this off in the sink, or else it's going to dry and be awful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Normally he's here in the evening. I can ask him to do these things, but we lucked out today. He came down. Okay. So now look how pretty this is, and you'll love it when it dries. It'll just be a subtle, isn't that pretty? Now, I will tell you one thing I wanted to do before I did this, because it's going to add texture. I forgot to stamp, darn it. I wanted to stamp all these little fish before we did the glaze, because it might not be easy to fit them in, you know. I wanted them kind of floating in the background. You know how it's just their outline shadow? I forgot to do it. So remember that if you recreate this card, how to do it. Stamp your fish first, because the glaze might keep us, look at the texture, might keep us from being able to do that, but we'll see. Isn't that pretty? Love it. And when it dries, you'll really love it. So we're going to set this aside, and let's go ahead and clean this off. If you let this dry, it will be pretty, you know, hard on here. And this is why I don't want to use it on my paper palette. So make sure you clean that off. This is just an old kind of like mixed media mat. Okay, so let's talk about our turtles and let's color them. Now, there's lots of ways you can color these. You could stamp it and emboss it and then just do some ink blending over it, right? Super simple. Don't stress yourself out. If you're not a colorer, that doesn't mean don't get stamps like this. You just have to think of ways that work for you. We could use Zig watercolor brush pens and watercolor it, do loosey-goosey. I had thought for the seashells, that's what I would have done. Loosey-goosey, super easy watercoloring, or we can use our Copic markers. Just make sure you stamp it in you know, a Copic friendly or alcohol ink friendly thing, and we can do much more detailed. I'm thinking let's go ahead and stamp it and color them kind of the right way. But we'll do more dramatic kind of coloring, and I will Copic color it. So that means I'm going to use an ink that I know works with it, and I'm looking for my Picket Fence Studios Intense Black ink because I know that works when I heat set it. And I have to find it. Who knows where is it? Oh, I know. It's right here. Here we go. And I'm going to use my Hammer Mill 100-pound paper because that's what I use to color on now. And let's pull a Misty. And I think we can fit a few on here. Oh, I have those too, Sue. And you know what? I don't play with them very often. I've only used them a couple of times. Yeah, makes it really easy, loosey-goosey, super simple, you know, to watercolor with them. Kind of like Tim Holtz Distress woodless watercolor. Doesn't he have some watercolor pencils now different than the crayons, right? I think so. Oh, this is not big enough for these. And I like that we have different proportions because I think proportion is really important. And sometimes you get stamps from companies and you're like, did you not think this through? Because the proportions like all off. My sister taught me that. She was really big on proportion, and she'd get a stamp set and say, what is wrong with this? Why is this object so much bigger than this? That's not right. The proportion's way off. And I had never really thought about it a whole lot until she pointed it out. And now I notice it a lot. Like, I love having different sizes because then it helps you create that depth. Like, oh, there's a sea turtle really far away because he's little, right? Or he's a baby, but you can really create a sense of depth when you have images that are smaller, kind of like on that little girl with the flamingo floaty tube. You had the lighthouse and the little bathhouse further away, so they'd be much smaller, right? So I really noticed that a lot, and I like it when they get it right, because so often some of these companies, you get stamp sets and they don't get it right. They get it wrong. The proportion is way off, and you're like, you're an artist, don't you understand these things? So what else? Anything else? Bonnie's going to the Chinese buffet for lunch. Yum. That sounds good. We like Chinese food. It'll be interesting when I go get my allergy testing to see what they say, like about soy and things like that. I already know one that for sure I'm allergic to, and it's not good. Not happy about it. So it'll be interesting to see what else they say. And these stamps have a lot of black on them. So let's make sure my paper's in the corner. Look how cute these turtles are. Oh my word. So very cute. Okay, you ready? Look, 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 look. They came out perfectly. I love it. Look at that. Might stamp it again, but because some of the black actually did not stamp as vivid as I want. So let's get that back in the corner. Stamp it again. This is the Picket Fence Studios Black Hybrid Intense ink. It does work with your Copics, and I will say that when you heat set it, I have not found it to smear, so that's good. And I have to tell you, we've been on for an hour and a half, so I might start this, but I'm probably not going to finish it because we've been on for a long time. So, and then I can get this card finished and share with you guys. But we kind of went off on a tangent, right? We started talking a lot about inks and how, you know, what tools to use with what. So we got a lot done. We just didn't, you know, a lot of teaching and learning done, but maybe not as much. I'm glad I restamped that because look how nice and dark that came out. Heat set it. And you see, there's not that much to color on these turtles. So it shouldn't be too hard, right? Let's do very light greens, like bright light greens, and dark greens, and give it a lot of contrast. So it'll really pop against our bluish greenish waters, right? And we will zoom in. So let me pull some Copics here. Thank goodness I got them all back in and organized, because when I color a project, they all come out and they're all over my desk, and it's a mess. But I did get them put away the other day, so it'll make it easier to choose. Let's do, I like yellow greens. And I think those will really pop. Let's do a yellow greens here. And sometimes I do add in a regular green just as like a dark shade, so it's not the mucky kind of green. Let me see what I've got. And it's okay to do that, right? This is ours. We can do what we want. Might add in a yellow green 00 if we need it. Let's start with that. And then we'll add in a really dark green for contrast. We'll see how it goes. But I don't like the darker yellow greens. They're not very pretty at all. So we'll see. But I might add in for brightness some regular greens. Sometimes don't be afraid to add some blues in there, because remember, green is made with blue. So I've pulled all of these and we'll see how they go, okay? We'll just see. Mainly yellow greens. Let's start with the yellow. And this is just for shells, right? For his shell. And we'll start with the big one. And I am not doing anything special. I'm going in circles to just cover this whole thing. Ooh, my black, I didn't get it heat set. It's kind of smearing. Don't like that. Really get it heat set. Okay. So I'm just going in circles. I will say some black inks, when you have the lighter colors, they do move just a little bit, but you never notice it when you're using the darker colors. So just make sure you get it really heat set. Okay. Okay, so there's my light color. Let's build up and see how we like it. So now let's go. I don't even know if we'll be able to see the yellow green or not. Darker will be out here. So we just want like the very top to maybe be our brightest color, right? So I'm just kind of going around the outside and so that we can leave the very inside as maybe a highlight. You can't see this color a whole lot, and I'm not being very precise. Kind of following the outline. Because if the light we're reflecting, you know, they have little bumps, it's going to be lightest on the top. So we want to keep that light color there. And we're just building up the colors. Okay. So now let's go in for right now with this YG67. And I'm going to start in these middle ones to really see how I want to do this. I'm not even flicking. I'm just going in the perimeter. Can you see that? Not much there. And see how simple? You do not have to be a fantastic colorer to color these images. It's more about, can you keep the lights, you know, the highlights and the shading, and that's what makes it pretty. So don't stress about anything else. And like I said, this would be really easy. Like Sue mentioned the woodless watercolor pencils. So easy to do a really pretty watercolor technique. Pull out those pencils. Pull out your Zig brush markers. Okay, it's not. Don't make it difficult. So now let's go YG17. And now we're just going to blend that wet edge. But keep that center part bright, bright. See that? Look how pretty that looks. Just that contrast. Oh, Bonnie's like, I'm back. We aren't gone yet. Oh, she's got a mother-son date. That's so nice. Now I'm going back to YG13, especially here in the middle. We have a little bit more blending to do. And then we only need a little bit of highlights kind of down here. And even up here on that one. It's the ones in the middle you need the most. See that? Look how pretty that is. I love it. And then let's, just for a pop of color, we're going to add in some of this G29 and see how it looks. Just for a little bit of depth here. And not even all the way around. Just on the very kind of edges here. Don't be afraid you do not, when you're Copic coloring and you're picking colors, and I am not by any means a Copic expert, but I color enough that I know what works in crafting, for most of us, right? Now I'm going back to blend this just a little bit with the 67. You don't want to wash this out too much, so just along that wet edge, pull it around. But I know enough to know what I like and what I think works for other people like me. And yes, it's very easy to stay in, if I'm picking a YG13, then I could pick the YG17. If we have a 15, I don't know if there's a 15. It's a 13, 15, 17, 19, if that's the way it goes, right? It's really easy to do that. And that's safe. Don't think you can't do that. I'm not saying that. But sometimes, many times, I have found, don't be afraid to jump up and use those really dark colors as your shaded area. And that's what really makes an image pop. So don't think like lots of times if I'm doing like the Y or the R22, 24, 27, 29 for reds, then I jump way up and I'll grab like a 59 or the 39 as like a deep saturated dark red to really bring that out. And it really makes a difference. So don't be afraid to do that, or to use colors from, like maybe I jump down and I use, like I grab the Y00 or another, or YG00. If I have a Y11, then grab the 00s to kind of bring out a little bit more, right? Now I'm going to go back in with this yellow, and to really make your images pop. Don't worry about rules or what the experts say. If it doesn't work for you, or you have found another way, then do it your way and do what you like. Okay. There we go. I always mess with stuff, but he looks pretty. And look how we've left those. Yes, it's kind of circly, and that's what's kind of bothering me, but it's not that big of a deal. It's not perfectly blended. Once we get this on, that's the other thing about Copic coloring. When you get it on a card, there's so many different things people are looking at. It's not that big of a deal, right? Now, what's happening is it's going to start washing itself out because we're adding so many colors. So sometimes you have to let it dry. If you want to mess with it some more, go back in and let it dry and then go back in, right? So that's what's happening. It's starting to wash itself out because there's so much ink there. Let's let it dry. I'm going to go in and do the edges. And those I want darker. Those I need to be the darker color because it wouldn't have as much highlight. So I'm going to go in right away with the YG67. Where should we add a purple, Bonnie? What were you thinking? Like going with the purple? Are you thinking for shadows, Bonnie? I think you're talking about shadows. Yes. A lot of people will go in with a blue or a blue violet purple to add shading to things. And especially for some skin tones, a blue violet or a violet color looks, I guess I'm thinking violet. So I'm not good at doing that. Sandy Allnock is fantastic at adding in, I think she adds a violet to some darker skin tones, and it looks so beautiful. It's like the perfect thing to add. I'm just leaving a little spot of yellow here, coloring in almost the whole thing with the 67. Then the other thing to do, the trick, since we're not going to stay on and do everything here, is to, don't forget a white gel pen. People underestimate the value of a white gel pen, but boy, when you add that in for the kind of the highlights, it really makes an image pop. It's kind of a designer trick, I think, on cards. Don't forget that. See how easy these are? So easy to color these. I do like how this dark green and I think I'm going to color the whole thing in with 17 and go back again. Look, see how easy? I'm just drawing that all the way around to fill that in. And now I might go back in here and add just a little bit more in a couple spots. With this dark green, this G29, especially right in here. Oh, I have to tell you, if you are coming to the Nashville Craft Retreat, I have to tell you, we went, I think I told you in my last live that we were going to the Grand Ole Opry for the first time. We've not been since we've lived here for almost 4 years. And we went for the first time last Saturday night. Rich and I went, and we got to see Nate Smith, who I listen to some country music, not a ton, but he's had like 3 or 4 number one hits in the last couple years. Didn't know who he was. He was there and he was so good. And I'm like, oh, I've heard that song. I like that song. And then we saw Carrie Underwood. We had so much fun. So I have to tell you, if you are coming to the Nashville Craft Retreat, I would highly recommend that if you can go to an Opry show. I don't know if they have them on Sundays, or you come in or you stay. I know sometimes they have them on Tuesdays. Carrie Underwood actually will be there June 4th, which is the Tuesday after the craft retreat. And she was fantastic. They each sing 3 songs. That's it. We saw Vince Gill. Vince Gill was there too. Did you know he's touring with the Eagles now? And we had so much fun though. It was a blast. So I highly recommend that you go to the Opry if you can when you come to the Nashville Craft Retreat. Make a vacation of it because it was so much fun. We had a great time. They record it. It's a live show, and it was just fantastic. Okay, what do you think? So there's our greens. Oh, Melissa's going to go do a Copic coloring classes we had last year at the craft retreat, at the Nashville Craft Retreat. Sweet November stamps are almost always our Copic stamp sets because we love them. And it was a little Polynesian Hawaiian set. And so my sister Melissa taught it, and she taught the advanced coloring. Amador Bustamante taught the beginner to intermediate class. So much fun. And then Melissa taught the human rainbow and the card cafe as the advanced coloring class, and like 5 little images in the human rainbow of colors. And it was so good. Everybody loved it. So we really pack a lot into the craft retreat. And so Copic coloring is always one of our classes. Or coloring. If you like pencils, you bring pencils. If you use alcohol markers, you bring those. It's kind of hard to watercolor during that time, but some people watercolor. So there we go. I'm not coloring the rest of him right now because we have been on for almost 2 hours. But look how easy he was. I would color these in like some brown colors, and with just a little pop of green in there. And I think it'll look fantastic. And look, and so here's our background. It's still not dry. We're letting it dry, but you see how The glaze is taking on a little bit of the color. Look how pretty. And that's going to be a beautiful background. We'll create a slim line, probably shaker card for our sea turtles. He even might be pretty big on there. So isn't that going to be pretty? I love it. To a show there, and it did not work out. We did tour it though. Oh, good. You have to go to a show. It was so much fun. There was a little something for everybody. They came out and they had here, let's do this. They came out with the not line dancers. What are they? The square dancers, and kind of the old time like outfits. It was so cute. And they came out, and then they had, I think her name was Connie Smith, if I'm right. I'm not sure. 60 years. She's been a member of the Grand Ole Opry for 60 years. And her voice was still fantastic. And she did a great job and sang a couple gospel songs. I love that. And then they had they had a guy. It was so sweet. It was his very first time being at the Opry. He's only been 2 years ago. He said he was a bartender, and now here he is on the Grand Ole Opry stage. It's his first time there, and you could tell he was nervous. He said he was nervous over and over again, but can you imagine the feeling that you're, for the very first time, you're performing at the Grand Ole Opry? Wow. So that was so fun. They had him, and then they had Nate Smith and Vince Gill. Oh my gosh, talk about a legend. And then they had this comedian who's been performing at the Opry for years, and he was a hoot. He was a hoot. And then Carrie Underwood wrapped up the show, and it was such a good show. And we only knew Carrie was going to be there. We didn't even know Vince Gill or Nate Smith or any of those other ones. It was such a good show. It's a little bit of something for everyone. And so we had a great time. It was so fun. I highly recommend it. Going to the Bluebird Cafe in Nashville. There's so many great places to eat and so many bars downtown, and with live music, you can't go wrong. There's always wonderful music downtown. So anyway, if you come to the Nashville Craft Retreat, you got to make a vacation of it, because it's just, Nashville's such a cool place. And if you like the outdoors, there's all kinds of hiking and waterfalls and natural places to hike everywhere. It's just fantastic. So, but this year we're all sold out. We've sold out of the crop. We've sold out of the craft retreat, and we are taking no other reservations. We are sold out. It's booked, and everything's coming together. Finally, it's been a trip this year. Finally, we're starting to get things done. So, thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. I know I came on at a different time. If you're new, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget on YouTube to watch me there. Like the video if you learned something today, and please subscribe, because I am trying to build the base, and then you'll be notified every time I have a new video. And that's my goal this year, is we're doing more YouTube videos. So I'm all about teaching and sharing tips and tricks and teaching about products and techniques. So hopefully there's always something for everyone. Okay. I have a video coming out for Pear Blossom Press soon. Another one for Picket Fence Studios, and Catherine Pooler and Sizzix have some brand new fantastic things coming out May 1st. So look for that video too. There's a lot going on. Oh, Sue says she likes this time. You never know. Fridays might be good to go live too, huh? So thank you, everyone, and stay tuned, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.